Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the apocalypse and your number one apocalypse news podcast for all your information on the apocalypsed and surviving said apocalypse. I am your post-apocalyptic host man, favorite guy around, Matt Ferris.
Yeah, and I'm just a guy who wanders the wastes. And my name's Glenn, and I'm here to say I hate this place in a major way.
Oh, and that rhymes. So he is our resident wasteland wanderer and
Hello,
rhyming
hello.
expert, Glenn Macaulay.
Yep.
And it's great to have you back, Glenn. I didn't hear from you for a week. I was wondering if you were still alive or still wandering the wasteland, and it's nice to have you back on our communications.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of both. I'm barely alive, and I was wandering the wasteland, so that makes complete sense. I was out looking for water and oil. I found neither. And encountered a few sand bats and that sort of thing, but
Oh,
that's sort of what kept me going. I managed to fend them off, drink their blood. I brought you some, by the way. There you go.
oh, thank you very much.
Take a slurp of that, and I got some bat meat too, so we'll have a little bit of a barbecue. Which,
Awesome.
in the apocalypse, every day is a barbecue
Hmm.
because you have to cook over fire. So it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, and some days it's a good barbecue. Most days it's a bad barbecue. But you got to make do. You eat your sandbat meat because it's one of the few irradiated meats that won't kill you.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not to say it won't kill you because it might. It depends what they've eaten that day.
True.
Some worms, for example. I wouldn't eat worms because they've
Oh,
been known to dig into you. It's more parasitic. Dig into you and then take over your body, explode your head, and then a worm head comes out.
oops.
So if a bat's eaten that, and if you eat a bat soon after, you might get screwed. So I don't want to tell people that it's totally safe.
Okay,
You know.
so now I'm kind of worried because I've been eating a lot of worms lately.
Oh, am I talking to Matt then now, or is this a worm?
As far as I can tell, this is Matt, but I am starting to feel rather wormy.
Okay.
You
You've
know,
been
I feel
burrowing, that
some
sort of
creepy
thing?
crawly things inside of me, and my fingernails fell out, but I don't know if that's related.
Okay. No, I mean, around here, that's about as normal as you can get. So
Yeah. How about
I don't
this?
know if that would
If
be a symptom.
if I am a worm right now, I feel great. This might be better.
Some people, at Wandering the Waste, I meet a lot of people, and that is an option for some. I've met entire villages who have sort of given themselves to the worms,
Hmm.
and they seem to be fine. I mean, you're giving up your soul essentially, and your body, basically everything you've held dear. But is a worm life an easier life? Perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't seek entertainment like we do.
Yeah.
Like we get bored easily, but they don't.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that they were a real thing, but I've heard, the rumors and fables of them, and apparently they're great diggers. They're a very happy society. They're happy-go-lucky people, wormy
Very happy.
people,
Yeah.
and they don't complain. They kind of just do their own thing, and they're enjoying it. The society
It's
of worm
the
people, from what I've heard.
the animalistic. I mean, I know we've sort of devolved to an animalistic society. Us
Hmm.
humans, of course, being out here, it's sort of like eat, sleep, procreate, find shelter. But the worms, I mean, they even strip it more bare than that. Like I said, boredom. You take that out of the equation, and you're living a better life. So.
Boom. Yeah, I mean, if digging a hole is entertainment enough for them, and that's where I'm headed, then sure, I'll dig some holes.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it on the head. I think their basic functions of survival, that's good enough for them. Whereas us, like I'll spend a day, as I said, scrounging for oil and any kind of water,
Mm,
even if it's just mud, we'll extract the moisture out of that. Um,
mm.
but that's
Love
boring to
mud.
me. I would
Yeah.
much rather be throwing things at other things.
Hmm.
You know?
Absolutely.
So,
And, it's worth noting that the worms have never had smartphones or anything, and most of humanity went crazy
right. Yeah.
and became bandits and raiders just because of the insanity of losing their smartphones
Losing
and,
everything and their
and their
TVs.
tablets.
and they're streaming and that what have you. So that's true. And I'm hoping that the next couple generations that hopefully we breed, provided we don't turn into worms ourselves,
Hmm.
will be able to grow up and not be like us and not get bored. You know, they'll be the first generation post event that will.
Yep.
I think things are looking up for them. You know.
I think so. I mean, life really isn't that bad. I've been living in a basement in the woods until the wave hit the island and submerged it. And I moved into my little makeshift submarine that I've been working on for a few years. Everybody laughed at me when I was started making the submarine. They're like, "Why would you want to do that? That's the craziest, stupidest thing you could do with your time." And I said, because I heard a voice and it said make a submarine, and so I'm making a submarine, and one day it's going to pay off, and boom, now it does. And now I live at
Yeah.
the bottom of the sea.
There we go. And I am in a cave,
Hmm.
and that just suits me fine. You know.
Yeah, and we speak to each other in a styrofoam cup with a piece of string attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to
So
keep
we're doing
keep
all
the line
right, you
taut.
know?
Yeah,
This isn't
that's
bad.
pretty good.
You kind of have to just make do with what you have, and I think we are doing that.
Yeah.
So,
And here at
pretty
the
good.
bottom of the sea, there's plenty of creatures to talk to. Most animals now are sentient and have personalities and can speak our language. So I was talking to a jellyfish the other day. Um, they're pretty nonsensical.
Right.
They don't really know what's up. They just became self-aware, so they're figuring things out, and they kind of mostly just bullshit and pretend like they know what they're talking about when they don't. But
Yeah.
it's someone to talk to. It's something to talk to. It's not so bad.
Yeah,
And they point you
exactly.
towards food and other such things. And I put a fin on the top of my submarine, painted the bottom of it white, and the sharks don't bother me. You know, because as you all know, the sharks have enslaved a good portion of humanity, um, and put
Yeah.
put them in internment camps, which I hear are pretty bad. But for those of us that are, you know, sort of slipping under the radar, the sharks, it's not so bad. They ignore us mostly. They like my cool submarine. They
Yeah, they respect you, I think
yeah,
is
they give
what's
me a little
important, you
wink,
know?
a nod. They're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're cool. You can live, no problem, buddy."
Right. Right.
Because you painted the bottom white. If it was blue, then you'd be out. And so I realized that sharks are racist.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I guess
so
they are
keep
when
that
you
in
think
mind.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very racist. Yeah, so in other apocalypse news, our Lord and Savior, the mountain, our deity, if you will, which is the giant mountain that looms over us all, has been mounted by raiders.
Yeah,
Um,
it's unfortunate because it was sort of a place we could all enjoy, I thought. Even a raider such as myself sort of respected that neutrality, but so
yeah,
that's too bad.
but the joke is on them. They can't defeat the mountain.
Yeah, I
Um, the
mean,
the mountain has now
stupid move.
birthed a giant flaming eyeball on top of it, which smites its enemies with fireballs, and it's really just burning the shit out of those raiders.
Yeah, sort of one by one. I mean, they've got strength in numbers, so it at first you might think, oh, geez, when are we going to get it back? But if you really look at raw numbers, they've lost easily a quarter of their horde
Hmm.
thanks to the eyeball. So
Yeah,
it's only a matter of time, but it's still a bit of a headache, you know?
yeah, I like to have picnics on the mountain personally,
Me too.
and but in time, it's really just going to make less raiders for us to deal with, and it's distracting them for now. So I'm living a pretty sweet and easy life here at the bottom of the sea. Um, what else? So yeah, we will have to clean the wasted raider carcasses off the mountain. Well, that's not so bad. I mean, it's something to
Again, it gives
eat,
us something to do
something
too.
to
So
eat,
it's
something
kind
to
of
do.
double.
Absolutely, and maybe we'll feed them to some other type of animal that's gonna be friends with us. In other news, if you have a chicken, please refrain from eating it. Take it to Sector 2. That's the chicken zone. They have more chickens there than
Yeah,
anywhere
so sort of
else.
working on a bit of a breeding program.
Yep, they have. That's where the chicken breeding program is set up, and it pays very well. So take your chicken there,
Yeah,
breed up some
don't eat that
chickens.
chicken. You'll get a voucher in respect of the community. So
Yeah, you'll get some rations, and they are currently trying to develop the human chicken breeding program. Um, Nothing has come from that, though. No success as of yet. But pretty soon we will. We're confident we will have chicken people for us to eat.
Yeah. So that's great news. Great news.
Yep, everything's going according to plan. If you don't have a plan,
Yeah. There
yeah,
we go. I think that sums it up quite nicely.
yeah. So other than that, it's very lonely.
As always, yeah, I'm sure, the interesting thing about this is who knows what'll happen in a week. A week from now, we could have, I mean, we might not even be here, but, stay tuned because there's bound to be something, you
Yep.
know?
Fingers crossed. We'll still be here giving you the news and insight and just giving you something to listen to while you spend your days digging holes and looking for radishes and maybe hunting for berries. Glenn, have you
Yeah.
found any edible berries in your travels?
A few times, yeah. They're rare, of course, and they're probably worth more to sell
Okay.
to herbalists than to actually eat. But if you want to, if you find the odd patch, you want to take advantage of that. And yes, I will mow a couple. I'm not obviously not going to share where I found them, but
Right.
just keep your eyes on the ground.
Great. Yeah. Well, the only berries I've had made me very sick, so I'm off berries.
Fair, fair, fair. More
Yeah.
for me. All right.
Yeah. Well, I think that we'll wrap it up, and that's been your Apocalypse podcast, and just let everyone know. Last piece of news here: Retro Night is Thursday.
Yeah, come check it out.
Mm. Hope to see you there. Have a good week. Stay alive, and build a submarine and join me at the bottom of the sea.
Right on.